to the John and Josh Show. We're back.
We're back.
It's been a minute. I think approximately 2.5 years, give or take. And that's because we had another baby. So for any of you who've been on this journey with us, we had 2 kids and we got pregnant with our son and we were really excited. God did it. That boy been whooping our butt. That boy been tearing us to shreds. You feel what I'm saying? So we actually had an episode where we brought him as a baby into the studio because we like, hey, we gonna get it. We gonna work hard.
Should show a clip.
We gonna get it. We gonna work hard. We gonna tap in. We back in the studio, right?
Terrible.
Yo, this dude, it wasn't happening.
We didn't hit our topics. Nothing.
So then from there, it's been trying. It's been a challenge.
Making it sound horrible.
No, it's not horrible. It's a beautiful thing, but priorities, right?
But yeah.
We had to find our rhythm, kind of find our balance, and we'll get into that maybe with our child rearing episode, which is to come soon. We'll get into some of those details. But yeah, man. So we're excited to be back, and I did get snipped. Okay, so I recommend.
We can talk about that in detail.
We're gonna talk about that in detail later, but for all the fellas, do it, bro. It's the most liberating thing in the world. Look, we done been fruitful, multiplied, replenished the earth, and we're done. All right,
we'll talk about
we
it,
up out of here. But today's episode is we kind of have a welcome back episode, but also we're gonna tap in. For those of you meeting us for the first time, my name is John,
and I'm Jocelyn,
and this is the John and Josh Show, and we're really excited to be back with you guys. So let's tap in. This episode, we're gonna get pretty real, pretty vulnerable.
We stay real and vulnerable.
Yeah, but we're gonna go a little deeper. Okay. So babe, do you want to share the title of this episode, or should I?
I don't know the title of the episode, but y'all will see it in the caption or something. But last week I got laid off from my job.
Laid off from the job. And for those who don't know, we live in Los Angeles.
That part.
I'm an actor, producer, singer, writer, educator, all these kind of things. My beautiful wife is a business owner, author, was an education consultant.
Well, I still am in terms of like PD and everything, but my full-time job does not exist. So I think the thing for us as a family, first thought was like, oh, we're on my insurance. We have 3 young children. Kids do things on the regular, so there's that. And then there is the very real layer of like what that income brought in for us.
Yeah.
Without it, like, what does this look like? What do we do?
Yeah. So let's get into it. So before we get into the income piece, and God is a phenomenal provider, so there's a beautiful testimony to share with that. But before we get into that, I want to ask you, and I'm not texting for anyone watching. These are my show notes. I didn't have time to print it.
They
3
don't
kids.
think that. They know.
You never know. But no. So my first question for you, babe, is how do you feel off of the layoff? Now, I know my version of what it seems like you felt like, but can you break down for us what it's felt like for you, what the journey has been to no longer be there? Because I have some thoughts and some follow-ups.
So I think I'll take this a different way. I could just say like the names of the emotions that were brought about with learning the news. Sure. But I think
and specifically what I'm trying to get at is like from the notion of Black woman, wife, mother, dreamer, all those things, right?
So being married to a dreamer, so let me take you back a little bit. We started dating in college, and even back then, 19 years old, when I had a crush, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're beginning our relationship. He was an opera major at Michigan State, and I was an education major. So I knew he wasn't going to perform in Michigan, So, but I also knew I was feeling this guy. I knew he was my husband from very early, but
she was sprung, and that's okay. Sometimes you gotta be sprung.
He asked me, okay. But anyway, so in the grander scheme of life, at 19 years old with a performer, I was so stressed out going to them operas, y'all. I fell asleep in every single one. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to mess up his career. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else's wife going to like it, And not that I hated it, but it just was my thing. Anyway, back to the topic. Stay topic, Jocelyn. I knew he couldn't thrive in Michigan. And also with me entertaining the idea of being with him for life, I'm like, okay, I can go along this journey with you, but only as a wife. I can't do this as a girlfriend. And the suspense of it or uncertainty of it that he may have, I'm just letting you know that this is the trajectory of what I'm thinking. And we agreed very early, and here we are, 17, 18 years later, 12 years married. Anyway, but from the very beginning, my commitment to partnering with him understanding the uncertainties of the industry. And y'all know, a lot of y'all, are in the industry, or you know about acting. They've been on strike. They've had things. COVID hit the industry big. Like, I accepted this journey while we were on it.
I just had to move that cord. It was bugging me. The cord was bugging me. I had to move it. So go ahead. I had to get rid of that cord. I'm sorry.
I saw
had to do
but
it.
I was trying not to be a control freak.
I had to get rid of it.
But yeah, it was too much.
Continue.
Okay, sorry guys. Anyway, I knew the colorfulness of being with an artist, but I've always been very confident in my hustle game. Because regardless, I know what is going to be stable, and that will be enough for me. I wouldn't just do this journey fully uncomfortable. So that has caused us to go to great heights and also weather the lows. And we've always had my income. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always been that. So then the thing about this layoff in this season is, like, I ain't never been a wife and mother of three. You know what I'm saying? Like, our oldest is getting braces. We ain't got no dental insurance no more. We got things coming up. There's stuff. So I think this has really opened a door to really amplify my faith, because I ain't got it right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've always in our journey have been able to rely on the fact that regardless of what happens, I know we gonna be okay because I'm gonna make it be okay. This ain't that. You know what I'm saying? This season is not that. So, like, I am very reliant on God, but also I know that He is faithful. I know that if I don't go out and do it, it will get done. So the emotion of how I feel right now is like, I feel so vulnerable. I feel like butt naked in the middle of the street. Like, there's nothing to hide, because I don't have the backup plan already in motion. Like, I can testify and say, oh, God is good while I'm working 40 hours a week. You know what I'm saying? No. God is good and I ain't got no job.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel vulnerable. Is it the word?
So what I think is interesting, you said something, and it's going to cause me to pivot in this episode, but that's fine. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
You mentioned, you knew, we would always be okay because I'm an artist, and it's the ebbs and flows of the industry, whatever. You're naturally a hustler, which she is. She don't sit down. Like, she's been laid off 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and this mug will not sit down. Like,
I'm sitting just on the edge of my seat a little bit. Okay.
So anyway, but what's really fascinating to me, how do I want to frame this? Because I also don't want to get in trouble after this podcast.
There's no getting trouble on the podcast.
There's absolutely getting in trouble on the podcast.
No. We can do it.
So let me say this. Have you felt? I'll ask the question and I'll do it this way. Have you felt the burden of provision for our family?
Oof. Okay, yeah, you went there. I think the burden of provision sounds so harsh. You know what I'm saying? So while I would never word it that way, those words would never come out of my mouth, I still do think that I have felt that.
So here's what I think. As you were talking about, because we're going to be good because I got it, whatever. What I'm most excited about with this layoff is that it turns things back in the direction where they belong in our family, right? Which is to say, so to give you all a little history, we get married and we're moving to New York, right? We're going for it. Big
6
dreams.
months into our engagement.
Yeah, like we going, let's go. Forget, we're living in Houston, love Houston. We'd be there right now with 5 kids, a big old dream house for $10.
We wouldn't be who we are if we stayed. Everything was perfect in Houston.
Yeah, and we would have just kind of plateaued and that would have been cool, right? Yeah. But I had dreams, and it's like, we got to go. So with that, her being aware of what I do, you kind of know what you might be signing up for, right? Which are the highest heights. Been fortunate to do some of the biggest shows in the world. I've built a great career for myself, and those heights are very high. But them lows, them valleys be valleying, bro. So what I think happened at one point, we came off a really high height, and this will be a follow-up episode that I wanted to talk about today, but she wasn't quite ready. So we'll wait.
Comb through the layers, but yeah,
it's gonna be a phenomenal episode. We'll get to it, but what what happened was that when the world changed, right? So I came off of a huge gig. And then I wasn't getting the calls that I thought I would get. I wasn't getting the opportunities I thought I would get. And the industry at that time, the entertainment industry at that time was set in a way where you couldn't be a full-time actor and a full-time blah, blah, blah. This is before COVID, right? So either you were an actor or you were just something else, right? So what I was running into, was was like, okay, and there came a point I'm like, yo, I'm gonna just go get a job. Like, I'm just get a day job because these savings have dried up a little bit. And, you know, you got to do what you got to do as a man, right? Men, you do what you got to do. That's a man, right? I'm going to job fairs. I'm applying. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm going to interviews, and me, Mr. Boy Scout over here, Mr. Truth Teller.
He still be telling the whole truth. Now, you don't have to lie, but also like, and this is what I was telling him. We're going to let you in, okay? I was telling him, you don't have to tell everybody everything. If you go to an audition, not even an audition, if you go to an interview for any job and someone else in the atmosphere is like, you know what? I have an opportunity that will double your salary. It's like, thank you, current job. I'm moving on. That's with anything.
Okay.
So if you want to go in and tell everybody about his acting career,
that's not what happened.
You would.
Hush. This is what happened. I would go in, they would look at my resume, a regular resume, right? And they'd be like, well, Jonathan, you're so impressive. You have this charisma. You'd be an awesome addition to our company.
Say, thank you. Yeah.
And I would. But then they would say, but one final question. What's this?
Made it to the game.
Stop. Listen. What is this 8-year gap in your resume? Why is there an 8-year gap here? Well, all right. Well, you know, I and this is what I would say to follow your lead. No. I would take your advice. I would say, well, I was building a career as an actor, but have decided to. What else I'm gonna say?
They don't need to know that.
What's the 8-year gap? How do I describe the gap?
Figured I was doing contract work.
That's okay. Well, that's actually facts.
He going in there talking about, well, I'm believing the Lord for a full-time acting gig.
No.
I want to be honest with you.
Lies. But the thing is, so then they say, okay, well, what were the contracts and why aren't they on your resume? So then the follow-up is,
I'm not at liberty to discuss
man,
right
listen,
now.
I be telling the truth, all right?
He be telling too much.
So
but
they
this
would
is
say,
the past, though. We beyond
they
it.
would say, so why is there a gap in your? And I'll say, well, I'm an actor, and I had been building a career, but now I'm stepping away.
Making me hot.
Now I'm stepping away from that, and I'm stepping back into full-time workforce or whatever. And then they would always say, well, out of curiosity, have I seen you in anything? What have you done?
See what I'm saying? These strangers. Am I hired or not? Here he go. Well, actually,
Jocelyn, it's not. Listen, what I'm telling you is you can't. Someone's asking me a question. I'm giving an honest answer, bro. So I would tell them things I've done, and without fail, every time they'd be like, "Oh man, you're just so talented. You're so. I can only imagine. You're such. I can imagine for you to do the work you've done.
But now
you're an amazing actor. I would love to hire you, but I'm just afraid you're gonna book a job and then you're gonna go. And I would tell them like, listen, I'm not even acting right now for real. I'm just trying to take care of my family.
They wouldn't care.
They'd be like, I'm sorry, man. Like, frankly, you're overqualified. So getting back to the point. I told you we should call this show The Tangent, but getting back to the point, after hearing that so many times, right? After hearing that so many times, I started to get a little discouraged because I'm like, bro, I'm doing the things I'm supposed to do as a man. Like I've literally, chosen to put my dream aside for a minute to just go get some money for my family, right? And none of that stuff was landing. So we made a very hard decision that I think was hard for both of us, for Josh to go back to work, right? Which was not at all the vision we wanted for our family. It's not what we wanted for our lives, but that's a choice we made because her word to me, even before we got married, was like, go for your dreams, because I'm not finna be married to a 60-year-old curmudgeon who's like mad because he didn't go pursue it. And for any artist in the chat, any artist watching us, y'all know what it is when you're an artist for real. And this is what you're called to do. This is your purpose. This is why you're on this earth, or at least in part why you're here. And there was a lot of grief that I was kind of dealing with. Like, how do I navigate this? And it was my first time kind of being knocked on the mat. It was the first L I had taken in my life. Like, I had never really dealt with that type of adversity, right?
Yeah.
So let me fast forward. She goes back to work, and I think what inherently happened, I don't think this was a choice by you or me, but I think what happened was that she started to build a type of resentment because it's like, even though this man he's not doing anything wrong, like he's doing the right things, but where I think the resentment came in was that, how to put this, put it like this. Recently, now that we're in LA, there's been a lot of adversity that's come up, right? We were the actors and writers strike was crazy. So by the grace of God, I was afforded an opportunity. Then I started a company, right? Then my company works in arts education, right? So Donald Trump gets in office, pulls all that funding from the Department of Education. All the contracts that I was booking, all the contracts that we were set to book had to pause everything. And they're like, yo, We don't know what we're going to do, man. We love you. We want to bring you in again this year, but we just don't know if we can afford it, right? Cool. By the grace of God, we pivot. And then now I'm building a performing arts program at a prominent high school out here in LA, right? And the man she fell in love with had that energy, right? The man she fell in love with in college was very much driven and very much built to be like, bet, we finna do this. Well, this went wrong. Say less. We finna do that. Well, that went wrong. Say less. We finna do this. So I think when I got knocked on the mat in that season, what I think ended up happening was that it was so hard for me to kind of pick myself up because I hadn't really experienced that before. And I thought I was maintaining my energy and doing what I do, but I wasn't. So I think what happened for you is that, why is he acting this way? And for you, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think you've ever cared about working. I think it's more so the fact, like, I think you low key want, because you hustle. Like hustlers, they won't sit down. Any of y'all who are married to a hustler, male or female, y'all know this. They will not sit down and be still. So I think for you, I don't think you've ever cared about working, but I think it was the fact that it started to feel like you had to. Like it started to feel like you had to do this. You had to do this work in order for us to sustain and bills to be paid or whatever. Am I accurate in that? Or
yeah. Well, even listening to you talk, you said two words that made me feel a little, you know what I'm saying? But it's good to acknowledge things that make you feel something. You know what I'm saying? Words, experiences, like that shift, you can dive into that. Like what was that? Why did your emotions change? Sometimes we experience stuff in our day-to-day life. We feel that shift, but we don't sit in it long enough to figure out why it happened or even what we want to do with it. So the two words that you said that kind of I felt something with are resentment and burden. Those are two very heavily emotionally charged words.
Yeah.
And while I would never say them, the essence of what it is was true. So now I'm sitting here like, dang, okay, resentment, dang, burden. Yeah, I felt these things. So I forgot your next question.
That was I just asked if I was accurate in that description.
Yes.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So what I think, and I'm coming to a point. Thank you all for following. But there are a lot of people in America right now going through this. Like our economy is crazy. Yeah. The country is crazy.
Well, this is also very human. So like, yes, in America, but also like
in life, things happen, bro.
Yeah.
And sidebar, I wish I had some OGs to tell me they had been through this stuff before, but we gonna put a pin in that one too. I got to bring some of the OGs on to talk on some man stuff. Like, bro, I've been there and it was crazy.
I'm happy that you said that, because a lot of times men don't necessarily say like, I would love to hear from, like I think the male prototype is like, I got it, I have it.
Well, what pissed me off, was that after I came out of it, all the OGs was, oh man, I remember I went through that, man, 1972, from 72 to 78, I couldn't work.
No idea.
And boy, my wife I was like, bro, I'm sitting here like I'm failure boy. And you know what I'm saying? And like, OGs like, oh man, from 1997, man, to 2005, man, it was a struggle, man. Wifey had to do this, but then my company took off. I'm like, why y'all ain't tell me, bro? I was dying out here. So the point I'm getting to is that because that season was what it was, I think what happened to you, again, nothing consciously decided per se, but I think there was a resentment that started to build because of that burden. And I think that burden low key, and we would talk about it, that burden like almost hit, for lack of a better phrase, your femininity in a way that wasn't indicative to, what or who you are or want to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So as we get all the way, so now let's fast forward. Now I done got my juice back. I done got my grind, my hustle back. Like I'm back in the game. I'm doing my thing. And it's interesting that even now, and I'm bringing it back to something you said at this point 15 minutes ago, but I'm bringing it back to when you said like, what are we going to do? The funny thing is I currently earn enough for us to be absolutely okay. And that's without the other ventures that I'm set to, I guess, jump off, if you will, within the next month. Right. So not only do I have the day job going, I have some contract work that I booked for the next 3 years that's going. And then we have some other things that I'm going to roll out. And it's interesting that even now, like in the back of in your subconscious, you still feel like, Lord, what is we going to do? And I got it. You know what I mean?
The what is we gonna do doesn't come from like making ends meet, but more of like, this is how we've always done things. You know what I'm saying?
But it's not how we've always done things. It's how we did things for a season.
That's true. Okay, let me think. Not how we've always. I've always expected
Mm-hmm.
to operate in our life a certain way.
Yeah.
That has shifted
Yes.
as a result of this event.
Yes.
So now it's like, how am I going
Yes.
to be?
Yeah, and that part, both cameras, that part. And I love the shift. I love the shift because, like I said, it turns things
Yeah.
to where it ought to be for us.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
I
It
agree.
turns things where it needs to be. So I think it's, to your point, I think it's almost less about, what are we gonna do, and it sounds like it's more about what am I gonna do. like I is in
It's
you.
true.
It's like,
true.
you know what I
and
mean?
then also, who am I? Like, I have been letting go of several layers. So let me speak to the artists' wives, right? We have and we do operate a certain way due to the unknowns. This is just the way things have been. But in this season, I'm choosing to not be a control freak. They can hear me. Anyway, I'm choosing not to be a control freak, which I am in recovery. I'm planning a step ahead. So then I freak out on details, but I also used to think in a way to prevent certain things. Now I'm just letting it ride and things are okay.
Yeah.
This is a daily, even like the chords was jumbled up on the desk. I saw them and I chose not to move them or ask the engineers to move them or have them. I just chose because we all saw them. So like me obsessing about it, I hate it. But that's not going to stop the episode. I'm choosing to not address the chords. And there's
Yeah.
so much of that in life
Yeah.
that I'm choosing not to do in this season.
So I have to make one more big point about this layoff and how I think low key it's really already blessed us and will continue to do so.
I agree.
You were okay. We should be fine. I was thinking about like legal stuff, but who cares? They done. No, we ain't saying no names of no
They
companies.
shouldn't lay me off.
This-
No, go ahead. We haven't said any names. Like, it's okay.
And for the record,
And we haven't said anything bad.
well, and the company imploded. Like they.
Well, you ain't got to see now. You go into the stuff. Like, it's okay.
It's fine.
All right.
So,
All right.
but nah. So the other thing about it, that I want to say is you were experiencing so much like micro trauma. I think
See, that sounds deep, but I hear what you're saying.
it's real though. We can't, trauma can take many forms, right? So it doesn't. It can look like a lot of different things, but the times that I would have to hear about what you were experiencing at this job. Now, let me give y'all some context. All right, let me give y'all
Here
context.
you go. Now
It
you put
matters.
this out there.
But yeah. So
Okay, go ahead.
because it's this thing about being a woman, being a Black woman in these workspaces, that's just so ridiculous. And I
Working
think,
in an environment where I felt a certain way about myself in that space caused me to try to advocate or like to prove things that already was facts. You know what I'm saying? Like if like I'm not a giraffe, in case you didn't know, but I felt like I would explain like, no,
Animals?
I'm not a giraffe. Like, no, I look at my neck. Like I was trying to prove
it's not even long. It's a short
I
one.
felt like I was trying to prove certain things, but like identity wise, doing that over the course of time, juxtaposed to like life and whatever else is going on up in here, that journey, while there was good things too, there was stuff muddled in there that made my experience in my life different. So when it ended, I think all of it just fell to the ground, abruptly.
Yeah. Yes, it did. The thing I'm grateful for
Yeah.
is that, once it came to an end, those consistent little traumatic things came to an end.
Yeah.
Here's what it is.
That's true.
Being Black in
Well,
America is
okay,
still
go
in a
ahead.
world where twice as good to get half as much.
Yeah.
And I think for you, experiencing that in real time caused a lot of mental and emotional strain.
You know what? F that. Because you know what I also thought about? Why was I trying to protect them even in this
Exactly.
moment in this space? But I think
Yes.
I didn't do it on purpose.
I know.
But it happened.
I know.
And then it happened like, wait, let's
And
not.
I was going to honor it, but
you did honor it, and I appreciate you,
But,
but
you already know how I
also-
feel.
Yeah, and it's still safe. Like we're not bad mouthing the
No,
place, but very
no one
much.
cares. But the
it
thing
was
is this.
micro trauma, like you said.
The thing is this,
and trauma
okay?
nonetheless. Like why little dog them trauma?
And listen, so we're here now. Can we
Okay.
be here now?
I'm nervous because here you go. But okay, yeah,
I'm gonna
let's
just
do it.
finish. I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna finish.
Because maybe it helps someone who is
It's
in
going
that
to.
space.
That's the
Okay,
whole
okay,
point.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna finish the analogy I put
Okay.
out there, right?
Yeah.
When you have to hypothetically, let's do it
Yes,
that way.
there we go.
When you work at a place that's like, hey, we need to roll out a new thing
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we
yeah,
need to
that's
boost
good.
the company.
Yeah.
And then you do that work
Yes.
and you get the results. You have
Yeah.
raised the status. You've raised the prestige. You've done all this work for the
You
company.
stewarded
You
well.
have proven
Yeah.
that you belong in this position.
Yeah.
If they were to open it up for a thing, then the company says, hey, we're going to open this position up for a promotion. Well, the person who should get it is the one who just did it for 5
think.
months and knocked it out the park, got our number. We did everything we needed to do, saved the initiative. We were on the way down. I worked, I did the stuff, I saved us, I got us another year or two of contract. I did all the stuff we had to do. And then they say, we're going to hire this white girl.
Now, why you
And
gotta say white girl?
because that matters. That's a part of it. Okay, take that out. We're going to hire this other person. It doesn't even matter because
We
it would
ain't gonna
also...
hire you.
But it's not you,
Okay, yeah,
like
yeah.
white or black, because that happened a couple times. Just some white, some black. So we're gonna hire this other person that's not you, even though you just did the job, even though you just
feel
proved
so vulnerable
you've
right
just
now.
proven your worth. I'm very proud of you. Even though you've just done the job, you've just proven your
Woo!
worth. We're gonna hire them and pay them $35,000 more than you,
Yeah, that's the
even
one.
though
Like,
you
make my
just did it.
armpits itch.
So I done made you hot this episode. So with that said, the reason I'm low key grateful for how this has turned out is that was causing you so much emotional strain,
Ooh.
right?
And I didn't know. I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah, and you like when I tell y'all, it wasn't every day. 4 days a week. We were,
And I was happy too.
Yeah,
Like I
it was a good gig.
enjoyed my,
it was that weird kind of juxtaposition of like, I'm grateful for the gig. It's a great gig, making really good money, but something is off. And this is weighing on my heart, my mental, my emotional. It's hard here. You know what I mean? I'm not free. I'm not autonomous. Like I'm feel burdened,
and
you know?
not just hard here, but I think hard here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So like I am acknowledging the me in it. You
Absolutely.
know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So with that, I think as I saw you go through that for so long, it took a long time to come out of it. Now, juxtaposed to as a man, for the fellas who are watching, when we go through stuff, it don't necessarily, well, to each their own. I'll just speak for me and some of the fellas I know, like my guys. Because I would talk to some of them about this, right? I wouldn't even, we don't care, bro. Like, I don't care what anyone else makes. I don't care what anyone else has going on. I don't care if the company disrespect me. Hey, did my check clear? Great. That's it. Like if I got enough for me and mine to be, look, he's shaking his head. Look, he like, yep, that's it. That's it. I don't care what, I don't care what no one else is making,
I care
bro.
about everything.
And you know what's crazy? Since I've been 16, that's been the scenarios that I don't care if it's been artistic. I don't care if it's been financial. Couldn't care less. Your journey is your journey. Mine is mine. Well, man, the company disrespecting you. They should be paying you more. They should. Did my check clear? Is my family good? I don't care. Give me my check, and I'm gonna go on about my business, right?
I think I just store those nuggets like little acorns in my cheeks. You know what I'm saying? Like I just was collecting, like, you know, and then it was making me feel some kind of way with each instance.
But I think part of that may be fueled by the fact that. And this is my perception. This is my perception.
You ain't wrong.
With my privilege as a man. Part of that is just the way women are treated in our society, and then you add being a black woman on top of that. Then you add being a black woman with an opinion, and a black woman who you don't necessarily. Well, you do stir the pot. Josh be stirring the pot, but
somebody got to do it.
But it's not nefarious.
You don't want stuff to stick. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You got to stir it up a little bit.
It's not nefarious. It's just it's actually more common sense driven. You know what I mean? It's more like common sense stuff. So you know, I think that's also part of it, right? So as men, we have the privilege of like, listen, my check cleared, so I'm not gonna trip. Yeah, old boy make whatever he makes, but I make what I make and I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm not counting pockets. But when you've been told from conception you're less than, you're second at best, you don't deserve, you shouldn't get, blah, blah, blah. Ooh. Like when that's the way you've been treated as a woman, I can only imagine what it is to then work a job where it's a great company, everybody's so nice, but hold on, why am I not getting what I deserve?
Yeah. And those through lines show up. You know, even like I think that was part of my problem too, because there were so many wonderful things about the job in that place.
Yeah.
So then when something typical would occur or like something familiar, you know what I'm saying, as far as like, you know, patriarchy or, you know, like being a black woman or being tone policed or something, when things happen, you are always reminded of those layers, you know?
Yeah.
So then you have to either give grace to keep moving or address it, but neither one goes well.
Yeah. So with that, I just think that, you know, as I guess should probably prepare to wrap this episode, you know, I just think that the way this layoff low key has already helped us is that we have to look at God's hand in it, right? And we have to look at the fact that before the layoff happened, I secured a major grant, you know, with a partner, you know, for my company, a major grant back in October, right? And we started to get to work on it in January before this even happened. So we were looking at that, get extra, you know, funds for our family. Like, bet this is vacation money. This is great. So now it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe this is life money. You know what I mean? But where I'm grateful is that, you know, God has answered my prayers of provision for my family. So we had a moment, and I will wrap with this. We had a moment here in LA maybe 2-3 years ago, something like that. I don't know. We had a moment. I was in the kitchen, right?
That was your birthday, right?
Yep. And I just broke down, right? Because stuff was just stuff wasn't working the way I wanted it to. And at this point, it had been a couple years since, you know, industry work was enough to take care of my family. And I'm very much an old school man's man. That's how I was raised, right? So a man does this, a man provides, a man protects. That's what you do. That's your job, right? You know, I think Genesis tells us after the fall of man, by the sweat of your brow will you eat, by the sweat of your brow will you provide for yourself, right? So that's what I have to do. And I was so frustrated and so mad because we want to achieve, right? We want to set a vision, go out and do it, watch it happen, clap, get our cookie, and then set the next one. You know what I mean? So when stuff wasn't working, it became too weighted for me. So there was a moment of serious, intense grief. We were in the kitchen in our old spot. We moved out here, and I was just like, you know what? I was like, I am no longer willing to rely on the industry or this dream to provide for my family. I can't do it no more. I can't, you know? But it was the greatest thing I think that happened to me because I just had to reframe my mind, right? So it wasn't about quitting, giving up or whatever. It actually threw me into more effort. And I just had to turn the way, you know, change how I moved, change how I saw things and get even more active, basically. But in the moment, it was what was necessary to get me moving and get me going. So I'm actually grateful to say that we've grown to know God as provider, right? Like, for real. You know what I mean? So when the layoff happened, I'm not tripping because I'm like, God gonna provide. I'm not, and already has done it. Like the story, bro, the stories we could tell, where things just seemingly are going so wrong, but then somehow God turns it for it to go right.
Well, the lessons learned. The thing is, we as children of God always win. So even if you lose, technically, you still gained a lesson.
Yeah.
You still learned something. So you still winning. Like,
yeah.
So it's a winning season for us, even though we don't yet know all of what's to come, but I know that it's good.
So last question for you. Do you feel, and this is all still pretty fresh. Like this is like 3 weeks in. So it's still pretty new. But do you feel a different, I feel like you're lighter. I feel like a spark has returned to your eyes. You know what I mean? But do you feel like, how do you feel? You know, like at this point, you know what I mean? Do you feel weightless, lighter, more autonomous? Like what's your posture in this moment?
I feel,
and I kind of asked that at the beginning, but
you did.
After the conversation, I
mean,
wonder.
Beyond the vulnerability of the moment, I do feel more creative, but that's where I'm comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people, to make it work, they just don't know how, but I'm groomed in this. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been doing it all my life. I watched my parents do it and they did it well. And so in this moment, it's like, oh yeah, we get to be creative. You know, like I have a nonprofit, the Apex Effect, and we're in our 3rd year, but this has always been a passion project, you know? So like CEO and founder, always been, but I've also done other things, you know, for money. And then in that moment, like, CEO founder, you know what I'm saying? Like your girl came up and like I'm able to look at the world through that lens, which is different, but I also was not trying to do it because I was still little dogging myself because I was in an environment where that was the norm, you know?
Yeah.
So,
So we'll wrap this by saying this. For anyone who is going through transitions, going through pivots, it's happening a lot, right? Like in our country right now. I kind of alluded to it earlier. Yeah. The economy is crazy. Stuff is crazy. People are losing jobs. I just heard
tragedies are common.
I was just speaking today with a colleague, and I think in the Bay Area they just laid off like 30 people today, 30 or 100 people, something like that. In the world of education, just laid them off. Sorry guys, that's it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like educators, what? So for anyone going through that, hold strong to your faith and hold strong to the truth of the word of God. Right. For God's word says, if I take care of the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, the lily of the valleys, how much greater will I do for you? Right. True. So that's what we got to lock in with. And if you have a moment where you feel like, Lord, what are you doing? Pray that prayer. Remind God, well, God, I didn't say it. You said you would provide. You said that. So we need your provision. You know what I mean? We need that. And take peace in that, right? There's another scripture that says, paraphrasing, but who can add an hour to their life by worry? Man, right? You're not going to add nothing. And as someone who at one point developed an anxiety and then had to come up out of that because that was crazy. But like, you're not adding anything to your life by worrying about the boogeyman. The boogeyman ain't real. You know what I mean? So hold strong to that faith, right?
And just to add an additional layer, like, yes, layoff, but also health and family and all the things that can abruptly happen that you didn't ask for, you didn't, introduce into your world. As a couple, I think something that really is important is to resist the temptation to withdraw. Yeah. To pull away. Like, it is so easy to be depressed. You know what I'm saying? Go inward with my feelings. Shut down. I don't want to talk about it. But it has been through our ability to talk and share that he can then supplement. Like, the day after I got laid off, was it Valentine's Day? Anyway, maybe. Or the all-time, something happened out here, and he was like, let's do,
there you go.
Let's do this family day outside with the crowds and with stuff and parking in the parking lot and walking with the stroller.
Oh, the All-Star game. The All-Star game was here in LA.
Yeah, we'll go. But nothing in my heart wanted to go. But also the way that we communicate, he was able to propose a different way. Yeah. So he's like, well, I'll take the kids. You just stay here. Say less. So, and I didn't feel, I thought that it would be torture for him to take all 3 kids by himself, but he was willing, so he went.
Loved it. We had a blast.
I was so happy to stay home. I took a bath. I read a book. I did things for myself, but it's like in the moments where there's so much going on, and especially if you have a partner, it would behoove you to share so that you all can supplement so that you don't just go on down through there.
And key word is partnership. So if you're married, if if you're locked in with each other and somebody is going through this, keep in mind that you are partners in the journey. Yeah. So fellas, if you done got laid off, if whatever has happened, because I done been there as we just described, and wifey is picking you up, you're not less than, you're not a boy, you're not a man. Yeah. You just going through life. It's just a season. Yeah. You know what I mean? Seasons. And remember that things are seasonal,
and
right?
they always change.
And give yourself grace, right? And ladies, know that you're in partnership, it is not all on you. That's not a thing. That's something that you went through for a little while. I just feel like it's on me. And juxtaposed, what was crazy, we were both living in a way where she's like, I just feel like it's all on me. And I'm like, I feel like it's all on me. Like, where are we missing each other, right? Pinning that, another episode.
Yes.
All right, so that is our story of Josh's layoff. Hopefully you all got something from that. Yeah, man, I'm never great at wrapping episodes.
We'll talk forever.
Yeah, we will. So, love y'all. Tap into the next episode. If you like what you heard, click down somewhere.
And comment.
Like, subscribe, share, comment. Please like, subscribe, and share. We need that. Like, everybody on these platforms needs it. So please bless us if you liked anything you heard and give us that. And we will see y'all in the next episode. Cool? Love y'all. Peace.